And welcome to another very special episode of The Breakdown, X's and O's. And we're not talking hugs and kisses, ladies and gentlemen. With the man, I'm your co-host, Conner Davis, but always the man that gets to join me, the man y'all came to see. His name is the man, the myth, the legend, the 5-year NFL vet. I like to call him Nate Nessie, but he really goes by Nate Ness. And we're here for a very special episode for you guys. Another one back in the books. I am not in Starkville anymore, Nate. I'm in Hattiesburg now.
Mississippi.
Yes, I'm done. But I will say the Starkville spirit will not leave us because we will be talking about a Mississippi State alumni here in just a minute. Do we get through our little intros?
I don't want no bias either. I don't want no Mississippi State bias.
There's not going to be any bias.
I don't want no bias.
There's not going to be any bias. Although I'll just give you numbers, and if the numbers are biased, then
But you know that it's
that'll be them.
It's that saying: men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Numbers don't. But I know you got a lot to say, so I'm gonna kind of briefly go over a couple good news for me. I'm gonna start work tomorrow.
Congratulations.
It's just a little work, I haven't got my summer job yet, but this is a little project that I'll be pulled up on working with my buddy. But bigger news, my brother and I ended up getting my mom came in here, told me to announce it. My brother and I ended up getting a scholarship for the work she works at, and it pays pretty good money. So I'm very relieved and happy to get some of that money back for school.
Oh yes.
And it'll be nice. Going to Mississippi State is not cheap.
It's not.
But
that's big time SEC.
Big time SEC. They denied us. They denied me of credentials. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, they denied me of credentials, but it doesn't matter. I had fun watching from the stands. So let's actually go into it. I know you got a lot to say, so let me get into it for you. What's up, Nate?
Oh, what's going on? Nothing. Tuesday. It's Taco
Tuesday.
But a beautiful day. A great workout. Great. Alive. Well. Congrats is in order for you and Tanner. You guys are destined to do great things. And again, big shout out to mom and dad because they did a damn fine job raising you two gentlemen. So you gotta go ahead and gotta say hello to my children, Tyler, Nemo, and Demi. Funny thing is they're right here. You gonna put your hand back in there? You gonna say hi? You gonna wave? No, they can't see your hand. Put your hand right here. Okay. Finish eating. But this past weekend was a very, very, very big weekend. Tyler actually went to prom. My oldest son. I share some photos if we can.
I got some photos. Now, do you want just you and him first, or
just show whatever?
Okay. I got this one first.
So Tyler is 17, but he is taller than me. Yes, he is. He is 6'3". The way the ground is, I'm a little bit higher than he is, but Tyler is taller than me. This was a proud moment for me, as you can see, a proud father, proud dad moment. And it's crazy, just how the time has went by. A blinked and 17 years has went past, and it's just like I was just looking, and I should have sent this one to you. I just was looking at his kindergarten graduation photo, and God has been good. That's all I can say is God has been too good to me. And just again, he had his date. The beautiful young lady, her name is Talia. They looked amazing. It's just again, this is a proud dad moment for me, a proud moment for myself and the family. Just seeing him grow up, and he's growing up into be the man that God has called him to be. And I'm just so thankful that I'm able to be his dad, and just to see him on this journey. I'm surprised I still have hair, but yeah, it's been a beautiful journey.
I was trying to zoom in on them shoes you were wearing because Bruce was
Some 13s.
kind of hyping them up.
Yeah, that's some 13s right there. Cool thing about it is I have not unpacked my bag from California.
I haven't unpacked either. I got all these hang up clothes on my bed because I like to be super organized, and I just hadn't felt I hadn't got the wind to go ahead and do it real quick.
Mm.
But it'll all be organized for the summertime. I'll get that done. Is there anything else you'd like to share? I know you're really excited about prom. I mean, my senior prom was great. My first prom was really bad. It was really bad.
Wait, what do you mean your first prom?
I got junior prom and senior prom.
Oh, that's cool.
Do they not do that with we're top?
No,
It's
no, no,
just
no.
seniors?
It's just senior prom. They had the winter formal. Did you have a winter formal?
Yes.
You
Those are
know,
all good.
they had the winter formal. You had the winter formal. You have what? You have homecoming,
Hmm.
spring dance, and prom.
Yeah, and I guess Brahms just I guess I went to a super small school and
Mhm.
he probably goes to a really large
He goes to a
school.
big school. He goes to
Yeah, so that's probably why they just do seniors. And no, MJ will not be here. Sorry to burst your bubble.
47.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
47 to go. But yeah, promise cool. My senior year went fine. I'm glad he's enjoying his because I enjoyed mine very well. It's not that I miss it. What's the past is the past. I'm glad I'm on a new chapter in life going to college.
But you
Uh,
want to know something? I think I'm gonna sound like an old man, and I know your dad can attest to this. Bruce, even so, you blink and 10 years goes by so fast. You blink and 10 years go by so fast, and it's not even funny. And you just ask yourself, where has the time gone? Where has the time gone? And it's just, that one of the things that we take for granted, that we got to stop taking for granted, is just the idea that we're going to always have this time. Time is a commodity that we cannot replace. It is the one variant that, again, we can replace money, we can replace clothes, shoes, materialistic things that depreciate and lose value over time. But time is the most important aspect that we cannot replace, and we got to make sure we use it, and just again, don't no shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Again, live life and live life the way it's supposed to be. We're not gonna get this day over again. Today is what, May 7th, 2024. We're not gonna get this day over again. So we gotta capitalize off the moment.
and I spent some of it driving today, so no, not necessarily want to go back to my car, but I get what you're saying. My first year of college was in the books, and maybe I'll miss it, maybe I won't. It's not like I was out partying all night and making memories. I wasn't. I'm not like that. That's what I'm saying. You know,
Where was
I
Tanner?
wasn't making those memories.
Tanner. Where was
We
Tanner?
were we were both chilling in the dorm, partying out in our double D double deluxe. We got that double deluxe, baby. We were partying out in there, mostly playing. Every once in a while, we'll play video games together, but that's besides the point. I kind of want to get into the thick of it because usually we kind of wait till the rant to go into
Let's go.
what
No,
the what the title is. We're
let's get
going straight into it.
potatoes.
So let me go ahead and turn this down before I do it, before I make a big mistake. Let me introduce the first segment of the show. Nate's necessary notes.
No.
So this was something that kind of stood out to me as it's been in the news for football for a while now because especially since free agency ended, they're going to the draft. Dallas Cowboys had a horrendous free agency, but I'm inclined to believe they had a pretty good draft. They filled spots that they needed to fill on their team, and there's not much issue I could say about it. But there's things the Cowboys have done where their players have had issues. They have 3 players going into their final year of their deals or the second to last year of their deals, big players. We have Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, and the one we're really going to get into is Dak Prescott. But they ended up accepting Micah Parsons' 5th year, I think,
Oh yeah.
as a defensive end instead of an outside linebacker. So it saved them a little bit of change.
Did it really save them some change?
Yes, it saved them $3 million in cap space.
So wait,
if I'm not mistaken.
what's his 5th-year option right now?
I want to say like 23. I want to say like 23, but I can look it up. I want to say 23, but I don't. I know Rob probably not.
Because if he was not on Rob, Rob's not here. Rob's
okay, 21 and a half.
Okay, if he would have been a linebacker, it would have been a lot lesser than that, right?
No. It would have been more. It would have been more if he was they used it as a defensive end. If they were to accept his 5th year as an outside linebacker, it would have been more. That's why they accepted it as a defensive end because they saved money on that.
So that means they're going to have to re-up when they do his next contract, his re-signing. They're going to have to make that real juicy. Jerry's going to have to come out the pocket because again, basically, if they would have accepted the 5th-year option as an outside linebacker, that would have hurt their cap space. That would have been more money in his pocket and whatnot because it's guaranteed. So yeah, they're going to have to. He essentially he's going to have the ball in his court.
But a lot of players don't like 5th-year options because they don't know if they're going to stay on the team that they're going to be playing with this next season.
Yeah, but so the 5th-year option, which is the 5th year is automatically guaranteed. So let's look at the numbers and the ramifications. So he's going to make $21.5 million.
$21.5 million, just a little bit under.
That's guaranteed money. That's guaranteed money you put in the bank right then and there. Now, if Micah Parsons has a great year this year, basically when it comes to the contract negotiations, he's going to have the ball all into his favor. Now, the thing where it gets tricky is the franchise tag. If they apply the franchise tag, and it's how they apply the franchise tag. Will they apply the franchise tag as a linebacker or as a DN? And then on top of that, if you apply the franchise tag on a Micah Parsons, there's a chance that he won't show up. So are you willing to gamble that? Are you willing to gamble that? Because one of the things you just alluded to, which is very, very important, they have 3 players on their team, 3 big-time players that are literally stalwarts on offense and defense. They're all pros. You have to pay them. So it's going to be interesting to see how you break it down because I don't think they're going to be able to keep all 3 of them.
Okay, well, they also did the same for CeeDee Lamb. So we have to look at that. CeeDee Lamb had an outstanding year this past year. Arguably, he was a top 3 receiver. You could argue if he was number 1 or not, whatever you want to do.
I'll say top 5. I'm not going to say top 3. I'll say top 5.
I liked his numbers were top 3. We'll say that. His numbers were top 3. You want to say he's top 5, that's fine. It's difficult because CeeDee Lamb's in the same boat. If he's not wanting to show up because he doesn't know if he's going to stay in Dallas because of this 5th-year option. Yeah. He's in the last year of his contract. Although it's fully guaranteed money, like you're saying, there's no insight on if CeeDee Lamb's going to stay in Dallas, how long he's going to stay in Dallas, and this is the Cowboys' mindset. They're not going to keep CeeDee Lamb if they don't figure out what's going on with Dak. Is that something you do? Is that something? Are you going to keep the wide receiver over the quarterback, or are you going to keep the quarterback over the wide receiver?
It's gonna be kind of hard because again, one needs to. They both need to. They both need each other. Dak needs a receiver to throw the ball to, and CD needs a quarterback that's going to get him the ball. And in these situations, this is tough. This is tough because I mean, the going quarterback market, quarterbacks are making $40-50 million a year.
Oh, it'll be more than that with Dak.
Yeah, because
we're gonna talk about that in just a second.
I mean, we got to take that into consideration. Now, receivers, if I'm not mistaken, the highest paid receiver is still Tyreek. If I'm not mistaken, annually is Tyreek.
It's different now because of the free agency. Ooh. So it's probably like Calvin Ridley or something. Oh wait, no, AJ Brown. That's right. AJ Brown just signed the contract to make him the highest paid wide receiver. 3-year, $96 million deal. That's right.
He got 3-year, $96 million. So was that 32 annually? What's Tyreek making?
If I had to guess, it's got to be in the 20s. There's no way. He signed a 4-year, $120 million deal. So 30.
30. Tyreek is going to re-up because whether we like it or not, Tyreek has had, I think, is he in the second or third year of this deal?
22. So the third.
Third year of this deal, he's going to re-up. He's going to have to re-up after this year.
Oh, yeah.
If he has another, which he's capable of have another 1,900-yard season or 1,800-yard season, he's going to command maybe 35 to upwards of 40. Because the cheetah is still the cheetah.
He is, but let's talk about what Dak can command for the Cowboys. So, in my mind, it is and I'm going to give you these numbers again, and we've talked about it before.
Yep.
In my mind, the ball is in Dak's court. He threw for 4,516 yards passing, a 69.5% completion rating with 36 touchdowns, league-leading 36 touchdowns passing and 9 interceptions. Now, this next season, he has a cap hit of $55 million, which is second in the NFL for cap hit. If Dak, we can talk about numbers. If Dak, it's really his decision at the end of the day. If he wants to stay in Dallas, if he wants to continue to try to bring championship to Dallas, which obviously it has to be mutual. The agreement has to be mutual. What kind of money are we thinking Dak's going to be? I'm thinking he could get 65 million for this next contract. His agent was so good the first time.
I have the list of quarterbacks that again, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Matt Stafford. They all make $40 million. They all make $40 million, but he has a cap hit of what?
55, because they pushed his money back.
Yeah, they had to backload it. They had to backload it just for the cap for the cap hits. Now I'm going to read out the names that are above Dak, and you tell me if he's worth this.
Okay.
Joe Burrow is the highest paid with 55 annually, and that's 55. You think you're going to take Joe over Dak?
See, Joe Burrow, if I were to pick Dak or Joe Burrow right now to build my team over, and this is no bias, I would have to pick Dak simply because Joe Burrow now has had multiple season-ending injuries. Although he does get paid that much money, he has not competed at the level that money shows yet.
Okay.
Because he's been injured.
Justin Herbert next is 52.5 annually.
I'd have to take Dak over Justin Herbert.
I understand that part because Lamar Jackson, 52 annually.
Whew. See, that's a difficult one. Now,
why is it difficult?
Because with Lamar, you don't have to have a running game because Lamar is the running game. Now, if I want to not have a super expensive running back and give it to my quarterback, I can do that. But Dak, he was throwing the ball 40 times a game because their run game was just weak. Now, if they can somehow build up the run game, which I doubt it. I think Lamar would have to get the edge here simply because he is the run game for Baltimore, and they can afford to spend that money because they're not spending it in a starting running back.
Okay. This is going to be interesting. Jalen Hurts, 51.
So one took his team to the Super Bowl, and one didn't.
One's been a league MVP. Lamar's been a league a 2-time. Okay.
We're talking about Jalen Hurts?
No. Okay. No. I was talking about Lamar, but okay. Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Jalen Hurts. He took his team to a Super Bowl.
He did. So he did do good in that aspect. But when the Eagles shifted their team just a tad bit, not even 90 degrees, we could see how much Jalen Hurts suffered in his stats. Lost the wild card. Dak ended up losing wild card too.
Okay. So who are you taking, Jalen or Dak?
For $51 million?
Come on.
I gotta take Dak.
Okay, now okay.
See, and I can explain that. Now, Dak has had a pretty decent O-line. I'm not gonna say it was Eagles tier O-line, but he had a pretty good O-line in terms of protecting him, being able to throw the ball as much as he did. Now, Jalen Hurts is more of a running quarterback, I will say that, but they now have acquired somebody in free agency that will take a big load off of Jalen Hurts' shoulders in terms of running the ball. They signed Saquon Barkley. Now, because they signed that much money for Saquon Barkley, is now Jalen Hurts worth $51 million. If we saw last season the way Jalen Hurts performed in a passing game, he's not worth $51 million because you're not going to use Jalen Hurts to run the ball. You just acquired Saquon Barkley, and in your eyes, Saquon's about to hit 2K rushing yards this next season. So I'm taking Dak simply because Jalen Hurts has not performed $51 million in terms of passing. And that's all Philadelphia is going to ask Jalen Hurts to do this next coming season due to the acquisition of Saquon Barkley.
Okay. I already know he's going to pick up for this one. Kyler Murray, 46.1.
I mean, I haven't seen much of Kyler. So I got to take Dak.
I don't even want to say this person. Deshaun Watson.
I haven't seen much of him either. I'll have to take Dak.
Kirk Cousins.
The guy that's been a starter for 12 seasons has only won one playoff game. What am I going to pick? I'm going to have to pick Dak.
You bet not. You bet not show bias right now. Patrick Mahomes.
You got to pick Mahomes. He makes every wide receiver. It's a lot like Aaron Rodgers did with someone like Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
Jordy Nelson, if he went to another team, he probably would not be wide receiver number one. But Aaron Rodgers made him look like wide receiver number one because of how good Aaron Rodgers was. Patrick Mahomes has that same ability. I got to take Patrick Mahomes over Dak.
Okay. I got a tough one for you. Josh Allen.
Okay, now this is my deal with Josh Allen. In big games, and you could say this.
You're about to say you can say the same thing.
You could say the same thing with Dak. And we could say, okay, if we're going on par with in big games, how do they perform? They would probably perform at a similar level. But Josh Allen, as of recently, for some reason, has an interception problem, a pick problem. he threw the most picks out of anybody last season. Like, it was, I don't know what his problem was this past season. I don't think Josh Allen's a bad quarterback, but he has an interception problem, and it leads to not being able to win some close games because of it. I got to give the edge to Dak.
There's got to be there's major bias there. There's major bias there. But
With Josh Allen?
With Josh Allen, but one of the things that you alluded to that I have to agree, both of them have underachieved. Both of them have had quote unquote Super Bowl caliber teams. And both of them have, in big games and big game moments, have kind of, dropped the ball. So, but if I had to pick, it's kind of hard. What's Josh Allen's playoff record? Or no, he's lost 2 or 3 games to the Chiefs.
He has 1, 2, 3, 5. He's 5-5.
What's Dak's record?
It's probably not 5-5. 2-5. It's 2-5.
I rest my case. I rest my case. I rest my case.
I have a little bias in front of me, yes. And especially when Dak could not even get a single vote in MVP voting this past season. It hurt me. It hurt me. Because it's like, obviously people don't see numbers, they don't see film, and they would say Lamar is a good player, don't get me wrong. I just had a problem with it. But I want to talk about, since we're on the topic, now Dak has not had any sort of, I won't say any, it's been very passive, quote passive. He has not had much of any conversation with the Dallas Cowboys in terms of a contract extension or in these negotiations. What does this mean, Nate? Is this something that should be alarming for Dak? What does it mean when a player like this, of this caliber, cannot get his team to come under negotiations of a contract extension?
Honestly, as a competitor, don't feel no type of way. The ball is in your court. Bet on yourself. You go out here, and again, if you're on last year that deal, what you're hoping for, God forbid, any injury, any season-ending injury, you want to go out there and you want to have a career year. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, Dak had a career year. He did. He passing yards, touchdowns. I think touchdown to interception ratio was a career year.
Completion for sure.
Completions for sure. Completion percentage.
Yeah, completion percentage, yes, too. Yeah.
You need to replicate this past season again. And if you can get, let's say, playoff wins, if you can get one or, get this team to, hypothetically speaking, the NFC Championship, you'll have the ball in your court in regards to the contract standing. That means you can demand anything you want. You can demand anything you want. And Jerry will have to, he's either going to show his poker face or he's going to fold. Because let's face it, Dak, if I'm not mistaken, has Dak been to the playoffs every year? He's been a Dallas Cowboy?
No, because he's got injured a couple of years.
Remember, he had the compound fracture in his leg, his ankle.
Let me see. Okay, let's look at his postseason. He's been to the playoffs 5 years of his career.
How many years has Dak been in the league? 9?
Since 2016, so 8.
8. So yeah. 5 out of 8. That's 60%, give or take.
Yeah, well, he was injured 1 year, so
okay. What year? That's okay. Because he got hurt in the 4th or 5th game of the year against the Giants, yes. If I'm not mistaken.
The 5th game of the year, yeah.
They didn't make it to the playoffs, right? So how many seasons has it been since he's played a whole season and did not make it to the playoffs?
None. He's been in the playoffs every year since his injury.
And now the question is, does Jerry want to go back to mediocrity in the dark days when you didn't make it to the playoffs?
I mean, you got to spend money to make money, right?
Scare money don't make no money. I was waiting for you to say. I was waiting for you to say it.
And Dak is one of the most sold jerseys in the NFL. Whether you want to agree with it, he's top 10. Numbers don't lie. He's top 10 in jersey sales. And he brings Jerry money for sure. And Jerry loves his money. Jerry loves his money.
AT&T Stadium was packed every Sunday, every Monday, at primetime games. Again, if I'm not mistaken, Dallas, did they win a playoff game last year, or did they lose to San Fran? They
lost to the Packers.
They lost to the Packers.
Yeah, and then the year before they won and then lost.
Okay.
And that was their bad season.
You know, a lot of people are going to get Dak flack on a lot of things, but you know what? When you play in the NFL, you want to make it to the playoffs. You got to make it to the big dance. You know, he's had opportunities. He's dropped the ball, but to get your team to the playoffs and to win games in the NFL is hard. We can't make excuses for him. His playoff record is what his playoff record is, and he has to improve that. To be if you want to be considered one of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL, again, if you want your pay to resemble where you fall at in that tier, you got to win. And again, nobody was better at winning in the playoffs than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. Okay. We look at Patrick Mahomes; he's coming and whatnot. But Patrick Mahomes, very much like Tom Brady, each year Tom deserved to be the highest paid quarterback at his position because of the resume. The same thing with Patrick Mahomes. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the resume speaks for himself. But he doesn't care really to be the highest paid. All it's about is winning. But yeah, with Dak's standpoint, if Dak can actually get over the hump and, again, have a great year, the ball is in his court because he'll be the head de facto face of again, this is what I want. Jerry, I want this amount of years. This is the contract I want. I want it fully guaranteed and so forth. And Jerry's going to either give in or I'm going to let you walk. But the question is, the big money, the big $1 million question is, who can you get to replace Dak in Dallas?
That's the question you got to ask yourself, because if you look at somebody like we said, Lamar Jackson, well, Lamar Jackson's got a 2-4 playoff record, just like Dak. You know, that's very similar to Dak's playoff record.
Yep.
Well, Dak's been in the league longer than Lamar. We could say, okay, well, he lost his rookie year. He was a rookie, whatever. You know, we could give him that loss.
Yeah, we give him a pass because we didn't expect for him. He lost to Aaron Rodgers. You know, that Packer team was a good team, and he was a rookie. I would have to say Lamar. Lamar has had, you know, he's had the number one scoring offense and number one defense, and he's dropped the ball a little bit. You know, he's made mistakes in the playoffs, but I mean, again, these guys, they're paid top dollar. But now you got to ask that question. I need to see something if you're going to get paid top dollar.
Well, I'm going to leave it at that because we got to keep going for time slips away on us. But if you're looking for something that's as quality as Dak's playing skills in the NFL, regular season, for sure. And you don't have to spend top dollar for this now. You might have to spend top dollar for Dak, but you don't have to spend top dollar for this. If you want yourself some good quality car insurance, go ahead and call Jeff Tepney, and he'll get you hooked up.
Here's to the grown-ups. Your car is now your office, stage, nursery. Erie Insurance offers products that lots of other companies don't. That's a big deal, and it's a good deal, too. And with Erie, you get your own independent agent, not a giant corporate call center or some online robot. You meet with a real person, like this.
Your local Erie agent is Building Block Insurance Group. Get a quote today at 704-464-4544.
Erie Insurance.
And when you call Jeff or text me at 704-464-4544, go ahead and ask him when he's going to own himself an NFL franchise. And if he will go ahead and spend that type of money on Dak Prescott. Now, we did spend a lot of time on Dak Prescott, and that's what the majority of what I wanted to cover. But we're going to bring all 3 segments back for this because we've been doing the draft and we had to cut some certain segments short. So I hope you brought your pool floaties, Nate, because we're going to be swimming with the Lockheeds. So let's get into it. We talked about Dak. We talked about, if he was going to get this, if he was going to get that. And I want to talk about another player who's been very good for his team. And we saw that the Giants this past draft drafted Malik Neighbors with the 6th overall pick.
Yes.
Okay. So we say, okay, the drought for good wide receivers in New York has been dang near. It hasn't been close to a decade, but it is pushing. It is pushing it. It's not too far for it'll be a decade drought for wide receivers in New York. Now, we look at Malik Neighbors and how he can compare himself to the last really good wide receiver we had in New York, and that's Odell Beckham Jr. We take a look at Odell's history. He went to the New York, he went to Cleveland, he went to Los Angeles, Baltimore, and now he finds himself at a new home. Odell Beckham Jr. has now signed a 1-year, $3 million contract with the Miami Dolphins, which could reach up to $8.25 million with incentives if he reaches like certain goals and stuff. You know how the incentives.
Oh yeah, playing time, playoffs. Again, Miami has to make it to the playoffs and so forth and whatnot. So yeah,
Miami felt that even though how strong they are in their wide receiver room, they felt that there still could be improvements, especially in the postseason. So with that being said, we can look at the last team Odell Beckham was able to take to the postseason, and it actually helped them very well in that postseason. He had good numbers in the postseason. We take a look at that Los Angeles Rams team, and what did they do that year, Nate?
They won a Super Bowl. He was the Super Bowl MVP. He was the MVP.
If he didn't get injured.
He does not get injured. He's the MVP because he was killing Eli Apple.
He was.
He had Eli Apple bent over his lap, spanking him.
Flip it.
I wish MJ was on here. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. But I mean, we have to. I like the signing. Of course, I'm a Miami Dolphins alumni. He's going to be the number 3 receiver. I think this Dolphin team, I mean, they're good on paper. But we have to see. Of course, Nemo, you say hi?
Hi. Clippers.
Huh?
Clippers.
Clippers? Let me see.
Hey.
Big. We need to see. Let me see it. Oh, let me see. I'm sorry about this, Connor.
That's okay. So I get what you're saying. And I kind of want to get in. I don't know if what you were going to say, but I kind of want to allude to what I think you're going to say. We need to see how Odell can perform on this. We need to see how Odell can perform with this team that is so good on paper and how he can actually improve this team that is so good on paper. If we look at the Miami Dolphins and what they lost this past offseason, they took a big hit on the defensive line, having departures from Christian Wilkins and Andrew Van Ginkel. They both took a hit. They ended up drafting Chop Robinson in the first round of the NFL draft, which I liked, but I felt that there were bigger needs in the interior O-line that they should have filled after losing Robert Hunt to free agency. And there's just certain things that they felt were more important, which was the D-line. And although how good this team looks on paper this year, I would argue that last year they looked even better.
I'm going to say this on a defensive side, being losing Christian Wood, that hurt. That hurt. They got Chop Robinson. If we can get Bradley Chubb back at a healthy pace and whatnot, if we can get him back and so forth, and he can go ahead and do what he got to do, we look good. I think on offense, what it's going to allow us to do with Odell Beckham is that there won't be no double teaming of Tyreek Hill. It won't be. It won't be no double teaming. You have to play zone. You have to play pure zone. Because again, if you double team Odell, if you double team him, Tyreek Hill is going to be a nightmare. As you can see, my children, they want to be here with me. It's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful moment for the team. Again, I lost my train of thought. You can't double team Tyreek. You cannot double team and go one-on-one with Jalen Waddle and Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is going to be on your nickel corner because he's your third receiver. It's going to be barbecue. Can you say barbecue? Barbecue. Yes, right. Barbecue. Again, it's too much speed on the field, but they also have good running game with Devin. Do you know how to pronounce his last name?
Now, I always said, I've always said a can't, but after kind of talking to Buddy, it's Achan.
Yeah.
Achan.
I think I was closer than you, though.
Yeah, I think you were. So I always wanted to say. I can't remember what I used to want to say.
But this team, good on paper, but they gotta do something. They got to do something because it'll be a waste of. You know what? For the longest, the AFC East was controlled by the Buffalo Bills. You making a strong push because Buffalo has been decimated this offseason. And when I say decimated, you trade away Stephon Diggs. You lose a lot of players on the defensive side and on the offensive side. You draft the receiver Keon Coleman from Florida State. Could he come in and again, could he come in and replace the productivity of a Stephon Diggs, who was, if I'm not mistaken, his years there, 2-3-time All-Pro, perennial Pro Bowler,
receiving,
perennial Pro Bowler, had a great rapport and relationship with Josh Allen and was big in so many clutch moments. I don't know if you can replace that and whatnot. Miami has a golden opportunity. You have 3 for sure, just amazing receivers on offense. You have a good running game. This is Tua put up good numbers. It's going to be Tua's put up or shut up time because, again, they've given you all the things you necessarily need to succeed. You have the receivers. You have the play calling and Mike McDaniel. You have the weapons on offense, the running game. Now, are you going to be able to just, again, make all of this a reality? And the past 2 seasons, they've lost in the wild card. We need you to win. Number one, we need you to stay healthy. We need you to get a rapport with these receivers and get command of the offense. And when I say command of the offense, I don't want you to be Patrick Mahomes. I want you to be Tua Tagovailoa and take that next step in your career.
Now, what's interesting about this, and we might not even get into the rant segment, which is okay because I just thought of something that is super important to talk about. You talked about Tua, and I'm glad you brought it up because it struck something in my mind. Tua is playing on his 5th-year option this season. He's going to have, I just looked it up, just a little bit over $23 million guaranteed for this year coming up. And you're right, this is Tua's make it or break it season in terms of, is he going to be able to re-sign with Miami, especially after having all those injuries? He did lead the league in passing this past season.
The year before.
Did he also do it the year before?
Year before, his completion percentage was the highest. Again, before he got hurt, before he got that concussion in the Buffalo game?
It might have been the Buffalo game.
Buffalo.
Well, they had to bring in
Cincinnati. I think he got it in Cincinnati. And then came back got it in Buffalo, came back the next week, got knocked out of Cincinnati.
And then they had to play like Skylar Thompson in the playoffs against Buffalo.
Was it Teddy Bridgewater too?
The second string?
Yeah,
It could have been. I don't know. It could have been. I'd have to look that up. But I agree with you. I mean, although I'm not a super big Alabama quarterback transfer to the NFL guy, Tua's made a pretty good campaign for himself in
oh
terms of
yes,
that.
yeah, and he's on the 5th year of his rookie contract. Basically, it's a put up or shut up year. You have to show me. I need you to show me.
So does he stay in? Okay, let's
Yes, he
think
stays
about
in.
this.
Yes, he stays in. There's again with the nucleus of this team. There is no way. There is no way that he does not stay and at least competes for a Super Bowl.
What does he have to do to not? Because we can say that more likely than not, he's going to stay in Miami. What does Tua have to do to not stay in Miami and to not undergo those contract negotiations to have that long-term deal?
He has to give up the booty this year. I say give up the booty. Give up the booty. I'm talking about just a wasted year where he underachieves to the fullest and wastes. This is a Super Bowl caliber team, a Super Bowl caliber offense and defense. Again, Mike McDaniel, this is your big year. Again, he can do something that hasn't been done in Miami in some years. Tua cannot have any mishaps. He has to perform. He has to take command of this offense, to take command of this team. He has to take that next step. He really, as the quarterback in the face of a franchise, with all of these weapons. We talk about Jalen Ramsey. We talk about Chop Robinson, the new draft pick. We talk about Bradley Chubb, who they traded from Denver to get and attain. Again, they lost Christian Wilkinson. Yes, they did. Wilkins, excuse me, for butchering his last name. But again, this team, it's Super Bowl or bust. With the acquisition of Odell Beckham Jr., it's Super Bowl or bust. You cannot underachieve with that roster. You have to make it, or not, it's going to be a waste. It's why give up. It's like you're getting the everybody in Miami so excited just for you to let them down. Come on, let's not do that.
Is it safe to say that if Tua were to make the playoffs, okay, and maybe lose the first round, like maybe Dak did, would that hurt his chances of getting more money in
It will.
this contract
It will.
negotiation?
It will. It will. Big time. Because of the fact that you know what he's expected to produce with this roster. You know. Mm-mm.
What does that gap look like, though? So, say he makes the Super Bowl. What money could Tua be getting? Say he loses first round of the playoffs. What money could he be getting? Say he doesn't make the playoffs. What money could he be getting?
I can't necessarily say that, but he'll
In
get
the ballpark.
40. 40.
If he makes the Super Bowl.
If he makes a Super Bowl, if he makes a Super Bowl and win it, he could potentially be the highest paid at the position.
Gee, even with his injury history.
If he makes it to the Super Bowl and wins it, we're talking men lie, women lie, numbers don't. If he makes it to the Super Bowl and wins the whole thing, he's going to be the guy.
I don't disagree with you. We saw someone like Joe Burrow, although his injury history made the Super Bowl, didn't win it, became the highest paid quarterback at the position.
But also, let's not forget that Joe Burrow had done something that a lot of people hadn't done, and he did it consistently. He knocked off Kansas City. Him beating Kansas City alone, that was just enough. That's just like, okay, does Eli Manning belong in the Hall of Fame?
Now, I have had this conversation with my buddy. If we would either take Eli Manning or Phillip Rivers, who we would take to be in the Hall of Fame first. And if Eli Manning makes it, Phillip Rivers has to make it. Because in my mind, Phillip Rivers had a better, even though Eli Manning did win 2 Super Bowls against Tom Brady, even though as good as that was, his defense was also stellar those 2 years. I want to give credit to that defense. I don't want to discredit Eli Manning in any way. But Phillip Rivers has not ever imagined or fathomed of a defense that Eli Manning was able to have in New York those years. Even though Phillip Rivers did have the number 1 offense that year with LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates. They had the number one offense, couldn't do much with it. I like I'm a big numbers guy. You know this. Phillip Rivers' numbers are better than Eli Manning's. If Eli Manning makes the Hall of Fame, so does Phillip Rivers. But in that draft class, Big Ben makes the Hall of Fame over both of them.
Oh yeah, Big Ben. But no, whoa, wait a minute. Because Big Ben has the same case as Eli. Big Ben had a great defense.
He did, but he's also won a Super Bowl as what, Nate?
He was MVP.
Did he not win? Or he might have went to it, but did he not win a Super Bowl as a rookie?
No, he didn't go. He didn't win as a rookie. He had the best rookie.
But he went to the Super Bowl as a rookie.
No, he didn't. He lost in the playoffs.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he was like 14-1, 15-1.
Okay, well that was my mistake. He might have had the best record as a rookie.
Nah, he had the best record as a rookie.
They went 13-0. That's with Big Ben. They went 13-0. That's
I
what
would
happened.
The only reason I would give Big Ben, in all honesty, the edge over Eli is that last drive against Arizona. That was his moment. He had his moment. That was the moment.
Oh, you talk about the toe cut San Antonio Holmes, whatever his name is. Yeah.
That throw he made alone was a Hall of Fame throw.
I mean, I think all three of those guys, if I had to rank them, it'd be Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, and Eli Manning. I just got to put Eli, even though it's hard because Eli Manning was the one that made those two Super Bowls.
I mean,
it's difficult for me. It's the same argument I have with Drew Brees. He made one Super Bowl, won it. But I put him over many quarterbacks who have more Super Bowl wins over him because I don't see Super Bowl rings as the number one thing to label a better player. Just like I don't put Bill Russell over everybody in the NBA when it comes to the greatest of all time because he's not the greatest of all time. He just has 13, however many rings he's got. 11. Thank you, Nate. So that argument, if you got Hall of Fame stats, if you have a Hall of Fame career, and if you were able to consistently make the playoffs, consistency, in my opinion, is success.
Okay.
And when you're as consistent as someone like Drew Brees, that's successful. Phillip Rivers, successful. I give it to Big Ben too. Eli Manning, not as consistent as the other ones. So that's my case for those guys. Anything else you want to say?
No, that was perfect.
So we kind of might have to. We'll save this rant segment for another day. We'll save it for another date because it was going to be good. We'll save it for another day. That's fine. We ended up talking too much about what non is whatever. You got to cut stuff out when it comes to the show. You got to kind of pivot, and we're pivoting today, and we're going to come up a little bit early. And let me set the tone, Nate. Let me set the tone before I go ahead and do this. I always got to channel my inner Ricky Williams. And speaking of Ricky Williams, I saw a video the other day after the NFL draft. Someone had made the worst trades in NFL history, and that Ricky Williams trade was dangerous.
Yeah, they traded the whole. They traded the whole draft.
They traded the whole draft, and then the next year's first round and third round for dang Ricky Williams. And he got injured his rookie season. And then he was really good. As good as Ricky Williams was, don't get me started on that. That's a conversation for another time. But let me channel my now inner Ricky Williams, not back then. Let's get this going. Hey, Nick.
Get to it.
New week, new
chapter. This is always this is dessert. This is the dessert. This is the dessert that we eat today. New week, new chapter. Let's get into this word. And Connor, you're gonna close us out in prayer. So I'm really excited about that. because you're gonna close this out with prayer. So let's get into the word for the day. Let's get into the
I
word.
think it's a little fuzzy, but I kind of
what?
made it a little.
Hey, no, hold on, no. You know what? I got it right here. Yet, you know what? Yet he did not waver through unbelief regarding the promise of God, but was strengthened in his faith and gave glory to God, being fully persuaded that God had power to do what he has promised. You know, Romans, the book of Romans, and this was in my my study today. You know, one of the things that's so beautiful about God, and when you get into the Word and the Word just take over and you know, again, build its home and its foundation in your heart, you get a chance to see that God, He loves us so much that God cannot go against His promises that He has made. You know, He's made several promises, you know, to love us, to provide for us, to be the anchor for us, to be our guide, to again forgive us of all of our sins and transgressions, you know, but to push us to be the best that we can be, give us strength. You know, again, God as a parent, I'm a parent. I have two here right now. But God wants to see nothing but the best for His children. He wants to give us all the things, yet He's not going to spoil us. We have to work for it. And we got to remember to remain faithful in small things that He's blessing us with, and just remember to have faith that He's going to open those doors and again fulfill all the promises that He has said. You know, never will He leave. He will always, again, give us the joys of our heart and whatnot. We just have to remain faithful and having faith in our part. And even though sometimes it can get hard with things in this crazy world, we have to remain and again, adamant about our walk and our journey. So, Connor, I need you to close us out with a prayer tonight. I need you to close us out with a good prayer.
It's already my time to shine.
Oh, yeah, it's your time, baby. It's your time with that closer. You're Michael Jordan, 1996.
We're talking about like I don't know what term is this, like we're talking about the 6 feet, right?
Yeah.
No, not the 6 feet, but the 6'3".
Yeah, no, we're talking about 96 Jordan, 72 and 10.
What was the year that he won the, you know, with 6 seconds left, he kind of shot it and beat the Kings, I think. Was it the Kings? And
No, it was the Cavaliers.
His 6th championship?
No, that you talking about the last shot. You talking about the shot. That was in '98. That was the 6th championship. That was Utah.
Utah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was Utah. That's what I'm talking about. So we're gonna kind of close it out like that. We're gonna get our 6th little ring, and that's kind of. I mean, I just kind of wanted to put that out there because I couldn't remember, but you know, you were there then. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna say, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, dear Lord, I want to thank you for letting me and Nate come here today and talk about football, but most importantly, talk about you. Now we look as if we promise you that, hey, we'll never ever sin this way again or ever do what we don't want to do again and ruin that relationship with you. But for some reason, it just seems that we fall short every time. We all fall short of the glory of God because we're human. And with those promises we make to you, although sometimes not fulfilled, you are so gracious and loving and so caring that you will forgive anything that we put on you. Anything, any betray, anything that we just do, that you forgive just graciously, Lord. And we're so thankful for that. I thank you for, although that we break them, never breaking your promises, never breaking your covenants that we've read in the Bible, even with Noah, with Abraham, all those people, you've never broken them. You've never break them, even now to today. And we're just so thankful for that. So Lord, I want to pray to you and watch everyone out during this summer as school gets out, and to kind of show them the path again that you have for them, and maybe if they're worrying about what's going to go on in these next couple of months, next couple of years, that you just put that on their heart that, hey, it's going to be okay. Anything that you do between now and however long as you have faith in me, unwavering faith in me, it'll all be okay. So until then, and until you put that on our hearts, I want to thank you again. In your Son's perfect and holy name, we pray. Amen. Hey, Demi. Let me go ahead and put this down. It's approaching. It is 8 o'clock right now. Is there anything that you would like to say, Nate, to kind of end off this show? Because we had a pretty good rant. Okay, I will say that. Now, if you're ready for that rant, we will save it for next week.
Let's save it.
Because that's one less thing I got to think about what we're going to talk about.
Okay, let's save it.
And I loved the Dallas conversation we had today. It's very productive.
Yes.
And I'm going to snip it and put it on its own video for YouTube. Because a lot of people don't want to, when they see an hour-long video, they kind of get discouraged and not wanting to watch most of it. And it's okay. It's okay. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you, Demi, for coming out and watching us. And we'll be here next week. As always, Tuesdays at 7. I will be in Hattiesburg for the months and months. Oh, Nate, I will have to tell you, now that I thought about it for the summer, we'll have to think about this. I will be in Gatlinburg on top of a mountain one Thursday in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we either, honestly, what? You talking about taking a break, a week break? Or have somebody fill in?
Nah.
What? I don't understand. I can't. I'm not on the same wavelength.
Yes, we're gonna talk about this.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this. So until that time comes, we will be here consecutively, week after week, at Tuesdays at 7. Don't miss it because we'll miss y'all. And until then, I'm the co-host, Conner Davis. The man to my right is the man y'all came to see, the man, the myth, the legend, the 5-year NFL vet, Nate Ness. And we will see y'all next Tuesday.
Yes, sir.